What?
I think I'd rather. Hello?
Oh, we'll turn
Oh, she cut me off? Oh, you cut me off.
I cut you.
Hello? Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing this morning?
Great.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. 100. Woo. She's been doing her thing. She's been doing her thing. Well, thank you for your time this morning. This morning we're going to talk about Strong Roots Provisions. Some of you may know that Javon and I currently own the Farmer and the Larder downtown Brunswick. The concept for Strong Roots Provisions is the growth of the Farmer and the Larder and what we've been doing in downtown Brunswick. First of all, let me say this, because both of the presenters today are from downtown Brunswick, is that downtown Brunswick is more than open for business. In the last, we were just counting the other day, if we count the WIC that has just opened up its doors for small people that just want office space, we probably had about 50 to 60 new businesses that have come into the downtown Brunswick area. Well, not maybe 35 plus businesses, maybe I should put it that way, that new businesses that have come into the area over the last 2 years. That's a lot of growth for a small city like us, and that shows that there's a potential for more to still happen. And that's where Strong Roots Provisions comes in. As we know, we already have a brewery that's getting ready to open, hopefully by spring of next year. We're hoping that the Richland Rum opens up in the next month or two. And then we have Tipsy's on this end of Newcastle. Javon and I want to take over the far end of Newcastle. So we have Farmer and Larder. Now we want Strong Roots Provisions. Strong Roots Provisions will be a port city food, jazz, rhythm, and blues bar and restaurant. That's the concept, and that's what we're going to stick to from beginning to end. Now, we often get the conversation of why port city food? Why would we even come to downtown Brunswick and try it again? Because from the very beginning, when we first decided to open the very first time, the first thing we heard was very similar to what Skip just said. I wouldn't open up anything in downtown Brunswick. It's dead. It's not going to be revived. It's going to take a lot. And we've seen a lot of struggles in this. It's hard to get investment or investors to come in, private investors to come in to invest in small businesses in downtown Brunswick. But I will tell them that a lot of them are going to be missing some money here real quick. And part of that is because as long as this growth continues to happen, business is going to continue to happen, and anybody that hasn't got in when they needed to won't be able to here very shortly. Because most of these storefronts are starting to fill up. And so that's where our Port City Food comes from. Our Port City Food is about all the people that have ever come into the port of Georgia. A lot of people don't know this, but I'm a big history buff. And part of that history is knowing that Brunswick is one of the first ports that George Washington set up. It's one of the first 5 ports that he set up. So that means that every nationality of people have come through this port at some given point in time. That's why we want to do Port City Food. It allows us to do a global flair with kind of some southern twists if we like, or we can stay with the Vietnamese banh mi if we want. We don't have to move into something else. And I think that that's where the food comes in. I think that it's high time for Brunswick to have something that's a little more global when it comes to food. Taking the seafood that we have that's very local, which is just amazing, the seafood that we have here, and putting that definitely on the plate. So far as the music goes, jazz, rhythm, and blues, there's nothing like that in the Glenn County area at all. And it's also time to bring the nightlife back into downtown Brunswick. Tipsy's has done an amazing job over the last going on 6 years, right? Yeah, 5 going on 6 years. They've done an amazing job of bringing live entertainment in and just kind of reviving it and sticking to it. And so that's what we think we want to bring. That's what we are going to bring. I think there is a lot of growth when it comes to food for us also. That we don't have to just think about the big boxes, that we have moved to this point of being able to, there's a lot of local farms that have moved into the area over the last few years. We're starting to see more push for our local seafood that we happen to have, and not thinking of this as just being subsistence fishing or only sports fishermen. So I think those are really strong things that are happening. I have also been able to see that the support of downtown Brunswick is amazing. So sitting in this room right now, we have Tammy from Tightbird that helped and or designed the card that you see, which is our Strong Roots logo. It's taken from the oak tree that is on our farm right now, one of the biggest and oldest oak trees that are on our farm, and this is what she turned that oak tree into. We have Jennifer Zamuda that's sitting right there right now. She has been everything to us that has to do with cloth. So if it's a napkin or a curtain or an apron, which she's designing new aprons for us right now, she's taken care of. We have Michael Kaufman that if it wasn't for him and his father, I wouldn't be inside of the space that I'm in right now, which is right down the end. We have David Lewis and Jordan that has helped us out with the SBA. So downtown Brunswick is alive and open for business. I've just named off 6, 7 people and things that we can connect to that's here for us to grow. And that's all I got.
All right, we have time now for questions. Are we all getting T-shirts when we leave today?
No, not everybody's getting a T-shirt. But you know, once we do the grand opening and everything, we'll see what kind of swag we hand out.
Good. Now I do have a question.
Yes.
What is your strategy to overcome the reluctance of people across the causeway to drive across the causeway to come eat at your restaurant?
You know, that's an interesting question, and I'm glad that you brought it up, because when we opened Farm and Larder, we didn't rely on the 12 to 16,000 people that live across the bridge to keep us open. Fortunately, we didn't, because 50% of our business actually comes from travelers. The other 25% comes from just when I say local, I'm talking like the uber local, like Windsor Park, Soglo, and the like. And maybe 25% comes off of both the islands. So if we would have hung our hat on the island supporting us and getting us to this point, it would have never happened.
Thank you. Another question.
Can you explain to us what Farmer and Lauder, the changes that will happen once Strong Roots opens with Farmer and Lauder?
Oh, awesome. So let me go ahead and put this out there, because we just got a call yesterday. Someone put out the rumor that we were closing the Farm and Larder as soon as our lease was up. So y'all can shoot that one in the sky, because that ain't happening. So what we're getting ready to do with the Farm and Larder is go back to the original concept that we started off with. Our original concept was cooking classes, small events, and remembering that good food and community go hand in hand. So we're going to go back to that original ethos and that original format. We're also going to probably put into place some small to-go kind of offerings, which Javon and I are finishing that menu up right now, and hopefully we'll be able to launch that prior to Thanksgiving. After that, we're still here. We're gonna, like, when I say I want to take over downtown Brunswick, I want to take over downtown Brunswick. And let me tell you why. You started it, so I'll finish it. The deal is, for me, when I was 5 years old, I was walking down downtown Brunswick with my mom, and I was denied the right to use the bathroom. That was 73. Now, I'm about to own 2 businesses in downtown Brunswick. So for me, it's overcoming that thought process that things can't happen and things don't change. And for me, a lot has changed here, and I want to be part of that change. I'm not holding that thing that happened to me at 5 years old as a thing that's going to hold me back. It's all about growth. That's why the Farm and Larder is going to stay into place. Strong Roots Provisions is getting ready to grow, and Javon is pushing into Sage's Larder, and Gilliard Farm. So by the time it's all said and done, by the beginning of 2018, we'll have 4 businesses that we own in Glenn County that are thriving.
All entrepreneurs have a story, and they do things that they have to do.
We do.
Another question, please.
I think we're excited about your menu. Are you going to have core items, or is it going to rotate?
So we're going to go definitely into the realm of having maybe a few of the stand-ins that were hardcore at the Farm and Larder. For instance, the Farmhouse Burger will go back on the menu. The Double Oink will be back on the menu. However, we're going to be producing things like lobster ravioli. We're going to do some handmade pastas that we have coming in. I'm going to use a lot more of the local fish like sea trout, I have an idea for putting some squid on the menu also. We're going to do a pork belly lollipop, and we're going to use the Almost Rum from Richland's Rum as the dip for it. And we're also talking about creating and taking whatever the seasonal beer is that comes from Silver Bluff to do all of our bread offerings and make beer bread with. So that's kind of our thought process of where it will go. So it'll be very seasonal, very fresh. And from what Tammy tells me about how my menu should look, I'll be able to change it as often as I like.
I was just going to ask, when do you open?
So we're looking for a grand opening being January 1. Start the new year off right. Plus, I do not want to pay 2 sets of beer, wine, and liquor license. So that ain't gonna happen. So it'll probably be January 1 is when we look to be wide open. We're gonna take the month of December to do a lot of soft openings. So you'll be seeing things pop up on Facebook and Instagram and things like that. It's gonna have a speakeasy feel. So you're gonna have to keep an eye. The website will be completely up by next week, Tuesday. And on there, you know, if anybody remembers to get inside a speakeasy, you have to know that password. And so you're gonna have to actually look on the site to find the password. It's never gonna be in the same place. And that password gets you in or gets you something through the month of December. And then as we move forward, we have a little more than 50 passwords, and my lease is for 5 years. So I can do one a month at least.
One of the things I've noticed around here is a lack of places that serve breakfast.
Yeah.
Are you planning on something? Because, I mean, it's horrible. Even on the island, it's horrible.
So yeah, so Javon and I have sat down. We've just got finished crafting what we call the Obi. And the Obi is an oversized biscuit that we stuff with bacon, lox, or eggs, or all three, or whatever you'd like. And so we're doing that. We're finishing up our yogurt supply right now, which Javon will be making in-house. We make all of our own fruit compotes anyway, so we'll be doing that. Did I miss anything, Javon, so far as the breakfast offerings go? So yeah, we're gonna do something like that, because for us, we also know that in downtown Brunswick, things kind of need to be fast in the morning, because people are just, you know, there's not a lot of time to just kind of like sit there and enjoy breakfast kind of a thing. So we're gonna do kind of a fast and furious kind of piece, but we'll also have that seating there, so if you wanna sit down and eat your to-go, you can do that.
One more quick thing, I'm gluten-free.
Yes.
There's a lot of places.
There are gluten-free biscuits out there, you know that,
Yeah,
right?
I know.
Okay.
But when you go to a restaurant, it is hard.
So our philosophy has always been to only put gluten in things that we feel should have gluten in it. Our philosophy is if we make something that is, like for instance, if I make butternut squash soup, which is very creamy, guess what I use? I don't use cream. I use more butternut squash. So we try to keep things as clean as we possibly can. When I think of gluten-free, I think of I didn't put any gluten inside of something. Not that I don't cook with gluten at all. We're looking on creating a better biscuit that would be kind of gluten-free. But we do some gluten-free bread stuff already. So I will try my best. And those things have always been marked on our menus too. So usually it's funny when people come in and go, I don't see a lot of vegetarian items that are on your menu. And I go, half of the menu is vegetables. And I don't put anything extra. Like I put bacon jam in everything, but you'll see bacon jam on there, right? If you don't see it on there, that means there's no meat in there. Yeah.
Another question.
How can we help you?
Oh, awesome question. I think I would say the main piece on helping me is support, as in coming in. We've heard from people for the last 2 years that Farmer Larder has been open. We meet people all the time and go, like when they see us, they're almost like, oh shoot, I ain't been to a restaurant yet. It's been 2 years. We've been open for 2 years. You've never stopped by, came in, had lunch, brunch, nothing. I think that that's the support. I think that all the businesses in downtown Brunswick need to just come and support us by coming in, buying one drink, having a meal, doing things like that. I think that's the main support. Marketing and the gift of gab, nobody can do for me better than I can do for myself. So I think that outside of that, physically coming in and supporting, I think is the main thing that I need everybody to continue to do for all of us. Definitely.
Another question.
Where can they find you on Facebook?
They can find me at Strong Roots Prov on Facebook, Strong Roots Prov on Instagram, and strongrootsprovisions.com, like I said, will be completely open for you to take a look at by Tuesday. And that is actually being all put together by Social Compass, which is another local downtown business.
All right. Well, Matthew, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, let's go ahead and take a break, refresh your coffee, and then we'll have our next presenter. Thank you.